A golden Saturday afternoon in the park should have been nothing but ordinary. Popsicles melting, a football flying, and the laughter of Ethan and Noah Monroe echoing across the grass. Instead, squad cars intruded, officers circling, suspicion simmering. To them, a black mother with two older boys matched a script already rehearsed, their questions sharpened, voices sliding toward menace, as if daring Alicia Monroe to stumble. But Alicia wasn't simply another woman out with her children. She was Dr. Alicia Monroe, a seasoned FBI agent. When they crossed the boundary from inquiry into harassment, they misjudged her gravely. And this time, she was ready. The sunlight stretched long across the suburban park, illuminating every leaf and blade of grass. Alicia sat on an old wooden bench, eyes warm as she watched her sons chase each other in bursts of energy. Sticky streaks of melted popsicles smeared their fingers, signs of the carefree afternoon they deserved. "Heads up, Mom!" Ethan shouted, his dark eyes gleaming as he tossed the football in a crooked arc toward her. Alicia exaggerated her attempt, fumbling purposely, sending both boys into loud laughter. "See? Told you she couldn't catch," Ethan teased Noah, who instantly jumped to defend his mother with fiery loyalty. Noah shook his head stubbornly. "That's not true. Mom's awesome at everything." She's just pretending. Alicia smirked, brushing crumbs from her jeans as she rose. "Oh, really? Pretending, am I? Guess it's time I prove myself." She hurled a spiral so perfect it soared right over Ethan's surprised, outstretched arms. "Not fair!" Ethan laughed, sprinting after the ball. Noah clapped wildly, cheering, "Again, Mom, again!" For a few precious minutes, Alicia allowed the weight of her career to dissolve. No endless paperwork, no grueling cases, no badge, just her and her boys, laughter filling the air, hearts light beneath the sun. "Football and popsicles," Alicia teased, jogging after them. "What did I do to deserve such spoiled kids?" Ethan smirked knowingly. "We're not spoiled, Mom. We're legends." He flipped open his sketch pad, quickly scribbling strokes that captured the moment. His quick hand had already immortalized dozens of memories like this one. 20 feet away, a white couple sat at a picnic table, children playing nearby. The woman's gaze lingered, disapproval etched in every line of her face. She leaned close to her husband, murmuring words that drew his frown. Alicia noticed, she always noticed, FBI training had sharpened her awareness like steel. The woman drew out her phone, voice hushed but not quiet enough. "Suspicious woman, watching everyone. Those boys don't even look like hers." Ethan froze mid-sketch, shoulders tensing, the pencil stalled. Alicia's heart ached at how swiftly joy could evaporate into fear. She laid a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Hey, focus on me, sweetheart," she whispered. "We're fine." Noah, still blissfully unaware, tugged her sleeve. "Can we play tag now?" Alicia forced brightness into her tone. "Absolutely, but be warned, I'm fast." She let her boys chase her across the grass, laughter covering the toxic murmurs still spilling behind them. Alicia kept her movements open, intentional, making sure the couple saw nothing hidden or furtive. She knew the game, how to be visible without surrendering dignity. "You can't catch me," Noah shrieked. "Bet I can," Alicia replied, slowing deliberately. But fragments of the woman's voice carried again, poisoning Ethan's hopeful face. Ethan edged closer, whispering, "Mom, she's saying more things." Alicia hugged him quickly, steady and reassuring. "It's okay, love. We belong here." The sound of tires crunching gravel cut across the laughter. A patrol car rolled in, its slow, deliberate approach shifting the entire park's atmosphere into watchful silence. Alicia clocked every detail, the officers' scanning eyes, the cautious speed, the practiced tension, their gaze fixed quickly on her, suspicion dripping from their stare. Noah dashed back, suddenly wary. Alicia tightened her arms around both boys. "It's all right," she murmured, though inside her training screamed that escalation was imminent. Together they stood on the sun-warmed grass, football forgotten. The woman clutched her phone with smug satisfaction, her husband nodding at the approaching officers like vindication had arrived. Ethan pressed himself closer, clutching his sketchpad as though it were armor. Mom, are we in trouble? He whispered. Alicia's jaw clenched. No, sweetheart, she promised softly. We've done nothing wrong. Remember that. Whatever happens, we did nothing wrong. The patrol car stopped. Two officers emerged, steps deliberate, eyes narrowed. Alicia recognized the choreography of intimidation instantly. Officer Denton adjusted his belt. His partner fell into step. Their body language screamed practiced authority. Afternoon, ma'am, Denton began, voice clipped and chilly. We got a call about suspicious activity. Need to ask a few questions, Alicia steadied her voice. No suspicious activity here. Just a mom with her kids, his gaze hardened. Report said a woman, maybe with kidnapped boys. We're required to check. He turned toward Ethan and Noah, voice suddenly exaggeratedly friendly. Hey fellas, can I ask you something? Ethan inched closer to Alicia, Noah staring up uncertain. This lady, she really your mom? Do you even know her full name? The words cut sharp, deliberately sowing doubt. Alicia felt her pulse spike. Ethan's voice, though trembling, rang clear. She's our mom. Her name's Dr. Alicia Monroe. Noah chimed in, instantly proud. Dr. Monroe, she catches bad guys. Denton dismissed the last remark. Ma'am, I'll need to see ID. Alicia kept her voice measured. These are my children. Why are we being harassed here? No harassment, Denton's partner interjected smoothly. Just procedure. He gestured toward the woman at the picnic table, who feigned sudden interest elsewhere. Around them, bystanders gathered, phones raised, recording. The park's air thickened with tension, whispers rippling through the crowd. Alicia's years of training told her the situation was tightening. Denton's eyes flicked toward Alicia's SUV. That car matches one from some local thefts. Need your registration and ID. Alicia's jaw stiffened. The lie was pitiful. Officer Denton, she said coolly, reading his badge, you and I know that's fabricated. You're fishing, and you're doing it in front of my children. Ma'am, if you stay uncooperative, Denton began. I haven't been uncooperative, Alicia cut in. I've stated facts. We've done nothing wrong. You lack probable cause. The crowd stirred, voices rising. She's just with her kids. This isn't right. Denton's partner shifted subtly, moving to flank. Alicia recognized the tactical positioning instantly. Last chance, Denton pressed, his tone threatening. Show ID, or we'll continue this downtown. Alicia knew the moment teetered. She forced calm for her son's sake. Fine. My ID's in my bag. I'm reaching slowly. She extended her hand carefully, telegraphing every move, but Denton's hand shot forward, seizing her wrist, his grip bit deep, fingers pressing hard enough to bruise. Time fractured. Alicia's instincts surged forward, training blazing. In one fluid motion, she twisted her arm, breaking free effortlessly. Her stance dropped, feet braced, sliding her boys behind her with her other arm. Do not touch me again, she commanded. Her voice shifted, no longer soft motherly tones, but the sharp resonance of authority honed in federal service. Denton recoiled a step, hand twitching toward his weapon. The crowd gasped audibly, cameras rising higher. The woman who'd dialed the call stood frozen, mouth slack, as the balance of power snapped suddenly. Step away from my children, Alicia's voice thundered, layered with conviction. Denton's partner reached for his radio. Alicia's warning sliced the air. Before you touch that, you should understand exactly who you're confronting. In minutes, you've committed violations I can recount in detail. And everyone has now been recorded. Ethan and Noah clung close, eyes wide, seeing their mother transform into something greater than they'd ever imagined. She was no longer just the woman who bought popsicles or fumbled footballs. She radiated absolute command, unshakable. Denton attempted to recover. Ma'am, you need to... Alicia's stare cut him off. No, Officer Denton. You need to weigh your next step carefully. This isn't about a false phone call anymore. It's about your conduct. The tension stretched taut, like glass about to shatter. Both officers bristled, frustration rising. Alicia knew it. Anger was overtaking their training, making their movements rushed, imprecise. Denton's hand darted toward his taser. His partner lunged forward, reaching directly for Alicia. Time slowed, Alicia's vision narrowing. Years of combat training surged alive, guiding her movements. Every muscle, every nerve responded with practiced certainty. In this frozen heartbeat, she was more than mother. She was federal agent unleashed. The crowd gasped louder, phones capturing every angle. The woman who had called the police now looked horrified at the scene spiraling beyond her intent. Alicia's sons stood behind her, clutching each other, terrified yet transfixed. Their mother wasn't backing down. She was standing immovable, the center of a storm. "You've crossed lines you can't erase," Alicia declared, her voice sharp as a blade. Denton's partner hesitated, radio half raised, but Alicia's words pinned him in place. "This situation is about to escalate beyond your control. Step back now, or face consequences you aren't prepared to shoulder." The crowd murmured louder. Ethan's whisper trembled. "Mom!" But Alicia's presence steadied them both. She radiated strength, the embodiment of defiance against injustice. Denton tried again, voice strained. "You need to calm down." Alicia's glare answered with fire. "No, Officer Denton. I am calm. You're the ones driving this toward disaster. Think carefully." Both officers lunged at once, frustration boiling into reckless motion. Denton's hand reached for his weapon while his partner dove for a grab. Alicia's body moved with flawless precision, training guiding every reaction. The moment stretched endless, her resolve unbreakable, her children behind her, as the confrontation ignited fully. Alicia slipped aside as Denton lunged, catching his wrist and redirecting his weight with practiced ease. He stumbled forward, losing grip on his taser. "Mom!" Ethan's voice cracked with both fear and awe. "Stay back, boys," Alicia ordered firmly. "Remember our drills. Keep your distance." Her tone never wavered. The second officer recovered fast, charging headlong. Alicia shoved Denton away and dropped low, sweeping his partner's legs neatly out from under him. He crashed hard, breath forced from his lungs. Around them, a circle widened as bystanders recorded. Dozens of cameras rose, the crowd caught between shock and exhilaration. "Show them, sister!" someone hollered, while others gasped in disbelief. Denton staggered upright, rage burning red across his face. He reached for his sidearm, but Alicia closed the gap before he could grip it. Her elbow slammed into his solar plexus, knocking the air from his lungs with brutal precision. As Denton folded, Alicia grabbed his gun arm and executed a clean hip throw, sending him sprawling flat on the grass. "Oh my God!" a woman screamed. The partner scrambled up, baton in hand. He swung wide, but Alicia's forearm absorbed the blow, her training directing the impact harmlessly away. She trapped the baton, twisted sharply, and tore it free before discarding it across the grass. "Stand down," she commanded, her voice resonating with unmistakable federal authority. "You're digging yourselves deeper." The officer lashed with a wild punch. Alicia slipped past and countered with a crisp jab to his throat. He gagged, collapsing to one knee. Denton recovered enough to lunge again, fury clouding judgment. Alicia, finished playing defense, met him head-on. She blocked his sloppy swing, then delivered 3 sharp blows to his ribs. As he staggered, she locked his arm and dropped him into a flawless takedown. His partner tried scrambling up, but Alicia pressed her boot between his shoulders, pinning him effortlessly, while holding Denton immobilized in the grass. Both officers were neutralized, the crowd erupting into cheers and stunned cries. "Ethan!" "Noah!" she called, voice steady. "Are you safe?" "Yes, Mom," they answered together. "That was unbelievable," Noah added, bouncing despite the tension. But the wail of sirens cut through his excitement. Tires screeched as several patrol cars raced into the lot, lights strobing. Alicia tightened her holes, but turned her head, watching 3 more units flood into the park, with weapons drawn. "Stay calm, everyone!" Alicia projected, her words carrying. Keep filming! Record everything! Dozens of phones rose higher, capturing the scene. Officers spilled from vehicles, shouting over each other, guns aimed. Alicia stayed utterly still, her stance strong but non-threatening. Both aggressors remained pinned, though her movements showed restraint, not aggression. "Release them now!" one officer barked. Alicia's reply was measured, loud enough for all. "I'm reaching for my credentials. My ID is in my back pocket. I will release them slowly, then show you who I am." She eased her grip, letting the officer scramble up, disheveled and humiliated. With deliberate calm, Alicia reached back and lifted her badge, holding it high above her head. The golden shield caught the sun. "I'm Special Agent Dr. Alicia Monroe, FBI," she declared, her voice thunderous. Silence swept the park as the weight of her words settled on everyone present. "These officers assaulted a federal agent on camera in front of witnesses," she continued. Phones clicked furiously, capturing badge, face, and the dawning panic etched across Denton's expression. Behind Alicia, Ethan and Noah stood straighter, their fear evaporating into something new. Undeniable pride in the woman who was their mother. The crowd murmured, astonished. Someone whispered, "That's why she fought like that. She's FBI." The shriek of sirens faded, leaving an eerie hush broken only by camera shutters. Backup officers hesitated, lowering weapons, confused by the power shift. Denton and his partner froze, bravado stripped, their earlier arrogance now humiliation. They stood stiff, facing the reality that they hadn't just harassed a mother, they'd confronted a federal agent who'd dismantled them in front of 100 witnesses. The circle of officers tightened, hands near weapons, unsure. Alicia stayed composed, her badge raised high, movements deliberate, projecting calm despite the danger. "Here's what happened," she began, her voice steady. "I was with my sons when these officers confronted us without cause. They escalated to physical force. I defended myself with the training the Bureau gave me." Every word was clear, crafted for the cameras and the silent jury of bystanders. A gray-haired sergeant stepped forward. "Ma'am, we'll need to verify that badge." Alicia nodded. "Of course. Credentials are valid. Call the local field office. They'll confirm." She handed them over slowly. The sergeant inspected them closely, then radioed. Around them, phones filmed everything. Ethan and Noah clung close, whispering in awe. "Mom," Ethan whispered nervously, "everyone's watching." Alicia's gaze softened briefly. "Let them. The truth needs witnesses." Denton and his partner huddled by their cruiser, whispering furiously, embarrassment twisting their faces. They gestured, speaking into their radios. The sergeant returned her badge respectfully, though his face betrayed a cautious neutrality. "Everything looks in order, Agent Monroe," he said evenly. For a moment, relief touched Alicia's shoulders. The crowd cheered, shouting support. "Don't let them get away with it." But Denton suddenly barked, desperation edging his tone. "She attacked us." "Badge or not, she assaulted police officers." His partner echoed him. Their previous aggression morphed into calculated victimhood. "She was erratic from the start, acting suspicious, ignoring basic instructions." "That's a lie," Noah blurted out, fists tight. Alicia calmed him with a gentle squeeze. "Let them speak," she murmured. "They're only burying themselves deeper." Her calm authority silenced her boys instantly. Denton jabbed a trembling finger at her. "How do we even know that badge is real?" "Agents don't hang out in parks tackling cops," Alicia corrected firmly. "I was here with my children." "You initiated contact. Dozens of cameras prove it." The crowd shouted back, phones raised higher in defiance. Yet Alicia noticed the backup officers exchanging glances, siding silently with their own. Truth meant little against solidarity. Then a black SUV rolled in, marked with police insignia. Captain Richard Harlan stepped out. A man Alicia knew by reputation, loyal to his officers above all else, regardless of their sins. He scanned the scene coldly, eyes sharp, jaw set. He barely glanced at her badge before turning toward Denton and his partner. "Officers, are you hurt?" Denton wasted no time. "Captain, she attacked us during questioning. We were investigating a call about a suspicious person." Their lies poured out confidently. Harlan turned to Alicia, disdain dripping from his tone. "Agent Monroe, if that's truly who you are, you know assaulting police is a felony. We'll need a full investigation." Alicia's reply was even. "Your men harassed me without cause, used force, and drew weapons. Every step is on video. Hundreds recorded. Videos can be misleading," Harlan countered smoothly. "They don't capture context. We'll need statements and your credentials verified." Alicia's stomach sank. She watched as he whispered to officers, posture shifting them into unity. The bystanders' evidence risked being buried beneath a manufactured narrative. She'd seen this corruption countless times before. Harlan stepped back, speaking sharply into his radio. Though Alicia couldn't hear, she recognized the look, one of officials determined to crush threats to their power. Her fleeting sense of relief evaporated. The battle wasn't over. It was just beginning. Ethan tugged at her sleeve. "Mom, are we in trouble?" Alicia held both sons close, never breaking her stare from Harlan. "No, baby. We did nothing wrong, but this fight may not end here." Around them, the crowd swelled, voices restless, but Alicia's attention narrowed to the captain, whose rigid stance radiated hostility sharpened into bureaucratic resolve. "He's not stopping," Alicia realized silently. This wasn't about two reckless officers anymore. It was about protecting a system. She saw the hunger in Harlan's eyes. She wasn't just an obstacle, she was a threat. A cold chill slid through her chest, though her voice remained steady for her children. "We'll face this," she whispered to them. Ethan and Noah nodded faintly, though fear lingered. Around them, cameras still rolled, documenting every second, but Alicia knew perception could be twisted. She watched Harlan finish his radio call, pivot back toward her with a face carved from stone. The standoff deepened. Later, driving home, Alicia's hands tightened on the steering wheel. The long shadows of sunset cut across the streets, every patrol car in her mirror a threat. "Mom," Ethan's voice broke the silence. "Are they going to arrest you?" Alicia exhaled slowly, forcing calm into her reply. "No, sweetheart." She kept her gaze steady ahead. "I did nothing wrong. Everything is recorded." From the back seat, Noah's voice wavered. "But what if they lie about it? What if they make stuff up?" Alicia's grip hardened on the wheel. "Then we fight with the truth." "I'm FBI. I know this game." Ethan leaned forward, eyes shining. "You were incredible, Mom." Like something out of a movie, Alicia's expression softened. "I never wanted you to see that side of me. I'm trained to protect, but violence is always the last option." "Were you scared?" Noah asked quietly, searching her face. Alicia's voice softened. "Yes, sweetheart. Fear is natural, but courage means acting, even when you're afraid. And I'll always act to protect you both." The hum of the engine filled the silence as the car rolled on, their bond stronger, though the shadow of the fight still loomed ahead. Alicia paused before answering honestly. "Yes, a little, but fear doesn't mean weakness. Courage is choosing to act despite being afraid." Pulling into their driveway, she scanned the street instinctively. Once satisfied, she guided Ethan and Noah inside, ushering them quickly as her protective instincts heightened in the night air. Their home felt altered now, less safe haven, more stronghold. "Bedtime, boys," Alicia instructed. "It's been a long day." While they brushed their teeth, she secured the doors and checked every lock, pulling curtains tight. From the bathroom, she caught fragments of whispers, excited tones tinged with unease that cut into her heart. "Did you see how quick she moved?" Ethan whispered. "Yeah, but what if those cops show up here?" Noah replied. "Mom won't let them hurt us." Alicia's chest tightened at their fears. Her children should dream of school and games, not police retaliation. She tucked away her sorrow, meeting them upstairs. Ethan's room was plastered with sketches, superheroes frozen mid-battle. But one new drawing caught Alicia's eye, her own likeness, poised in defiance. "Sleep now," she said, pulling his blanket up. Ethan grabbed her hand. "Mom, I'm proud you didn't let them bully us." Alicia kissed his forehead, whispering, "I'm proud of you too." In Noah's room next door, the younger boy clutched his worn stuffed elephant, eyes wide in nightlight glow. "Stay a little, Mom," he pleaded. Alicia sat beside him, fingers brushing his curls. "Of course," he whispered. "I was terrified when they grabbed you. But you weren't scared." Alicia shook her head gently. "I was scared," she admitted softly. "But sometimes we act brave even while afraid." "That's true courage." Noah clung tighter when she kissed him goodnight, his small body trembling against hers. "I love you, Mom," he whispered fiercely. "I love you more than anything," she answered, staying until sleep calmed him. Downstairs, the silence pressed heavily. Alicia's mind spun with strategy, the house too still, as though danger lurked outside. Her phone buzzed. Sarah Delgado, trusted FBI colleague. Alicia's pulse spiked. "Sarah, what's going on?" she asked. Sarah's hushed voice crackled. "You're not just in their crosshairs. They're organizing. They want you destroyed." Alicia's grip tightened until her knuckles blanched. She'd anticipated backlash, but Sarah's words confirmed the scope. Fear coiled in her chest, colder than ice. "What exactly are they planning?" she pressed, keeping her tone measured. Hours later, before dawn, Alicia sat at her kitchen table, laptop glowing, coffee steaming untouched. Upstairs, Ethan and Noah still slept. Alicia seized the quiet. "Document everything," she muttered, fingers flying. She typed with clinical precision. Every phrase the officers used, their postures, their aggression, her restraint. The years of crafting reports paid off, each detail recorded carefully, as though her career depended on it. Her phone buzzed again. Angela Watkins, civil rights attorney she trusted. "I've seen the footage, Alicia. 6 different videos. The officers are clearly out of line." Alicia straightened. "The boys start school at 8. I can meet you by 9. Bring everything. Your badge, service record, complaints. We'll build an airtight case." After hanging up, Alicia opened Twitter. Overnight, the video had exploded. She replayed herself, precise takedowns, the flash of her badge, the gasps of the crowd. Comments poured in. "FBI mom is unstoppable." "This is what happens when you profile the wrong woman." Her hands trembled as she drafted her own thread. "I am Dr. Alicia Monroe, the FBI agent in yesterday's viral video. I'm also a mother of 2 boys who watched their mom harassed and assaulted in a park." She wrote plainly, no dramatics. The truth alone carried power. She ended with a demand for accountability, then pressed post. Responses exploded instantly, retweets multiplied, likes soared, activists shared the thread. Within an hour, #JusticeForAlicia was trending. Support cascaded in waves, stories of similar harassment, voices demanding reform. The groundswell was undeniable. Alicia exhaled shakily, realizing her private ordeal had become a national flashpoint. Ethan shuffled into the kitchen, pajamas rumpled. "Mom, you're on TV," he announced. Alicia turned to see the morning news. Split-screen footage showed the viral video alongside her FBI credentials. The headline blared, "Hero or Threat? FBI agents park confrontation ignites debate." "They're calling you a hero," Ethan said proudly. Alicia kissed his head. "What matters is truth." But truth wasn't quiet. It roared. By school drop-off, her phone buzzed nonstop. Journalists demanded interviews. Activists invited her to rallies. FBI Public Affairs sent urgent memos about media protocol. At Angela's office, they watched a live stream of protesters outside the police station. Signs raised, "Protect Black mothers," and "Who polices police?" "This is good," Angela said, scribbling notes. "Pressure forces mistakes." Alicia's phone buzzed again. Sarah's text. "Police chief press conference at noon. Watch yourself." They flipped on the TV. Chief Richards appeared, uniform crisp, voice dripping with authority. "While we take misconduct seriously, he said, remember, officers face split-second dangers." Translation: circling the wagons, Angela muttered. Alicia barely heard. Her phone kept buzzing. Civil rights groups offering aid, fellow black women in law enforcement sharing stories, mothers nationwide sending solidarity. A new hashtag rose. Hashtag We Stand with Alicia. Someone had started a fundraiser for her legal defense, though none had yet been filed. Angela pointed at the screen. "See? They see themselves in you. A mother protecting children, a professional enduring discrimination, someone refusing to break." Alicia scrolled, pausing at a viral tweet. Ethan and Noah's frightened faces juxtaposed with her standing firm. Caption: Mama Bear defending her cubs. Alicia's chest tightened. For the first time since yesterday, she felt something loosen inside. Fear hadn't vanished, but support poured in like armor. "Maybe," she whispered, "we can really make them answer for this." Angela squeezed her shoulder. "That's what terrifies them. That's why we'll win." Alicia's hope sparked, fragile yet growing stronger. Later that morning, Alicia strode into the FBI field office, flashing her badge. Relief washed over her when the scanner beeped green. Despite the media storm, the halls felt steady. Colleagues offered sympathetic nods, but she kept moving. In her office, blinds drawn, she opened her laptop, pulse steadying. What she was about to do wasn't exactly illegal. Her clearance covered police records, but using it for personal reasons was unquestionably gray. She whispered, "Sometimes justice needs a push," and typed Officer Marcus Denton. The screen filled with files. Alicia's eyes widened. "Got you," she murmured. The pattern was unmistakable. 5 brutality complaints in 2 years, all involving minorities, each marked resolved, yet details told another story. Aggressive stops, confrontations escalated, paperwork twisted until victims looked culpable. Alicia opened a secure folder, downloading everything. Her phone pinged. A text from Ethan. "What time pickup today?" She smiled faintly. 4:30 sharp. Returning to her search, Alicia uncovered worse. Denton's partner had similar stains. Complaints dismissed, internal investigations closed mysteriously. Witness statements contradicted reports, yet were buried in footnotes. Alicia recognized the language. Bureaucratic camouflage. She'd seen it countless times. Truth buried beneath paper. She clicked deeper, pulse quickening, determined to gather it all. A sharp knock at her door jolted her. "Come in," she called, minimizing screens instantly. Tom Chen, a longtime colleague, slipped inside and shut the door. His expression was grave, voice low. "Alicia, you need to see this. It just surfaced through back channels." He handed her his phone cautiously. On the screen was a memo stamped "internal use only." Alicia scanned phrases that made her blood freeze. Potential threat to officer safety. History of aggressive conduct. They were already building a false narrative, rewriting her identity into a weapon against her. The breath caught in her chest like fire. She swallowed hard, passing the phone back. "They're rewriting the script," she murmured. Tom's expression was grim. "They're preparing to discredit you publicly, Alicia. And this is just the beginning." She closed her laptop, her jaw tightening. The war wasn't at the park anymore. It was moving into the shadows. Determination surged through her veins, steadier than fear. Ethan and Noah's faces filled her mind, her reason, her anchor. She couldn't afford to crumble, not now. She straightened her shoulders, voice low but resolute. "Then we bring the truth into the light. They won't erase me." "Not this time," Tom nodded. "Then you'd better be ready. Because they're coming hard, Alicia." She exhaled slowly, centering herself. Fear lingered, but purpose burned hotter. Every file, every witness, every video was a weapon of truth, and she intended to wield them all, no matter what walls they tried to build. Alone again, Alicia returned to her computer, reopening the secured folder. Every click, every file downloaded was one more piece of armor. She whispered to herself, "You wanted a fight? You'll get one." The hum of her laptop filled the silence, carrying her determination into the weight of battle ahead. She didn't hear the office buzz beyond her walls. Her focus tunneled to every damning line in the reports. But her pulse jumped at another knock. "Come in," she called, closing windows. Tom stepped in again, eyes sharper this time. "It's worse, Alicia. I just got something else." He handed her another phone. This time the words were even darker, the memo dripping with intent. "Internal threat. Escalation protocol. Monitor all communications," Alicia read, her stomach knotting tighter. They weren't just circling wagons anymore, they were preparing war. And she knew her fight for truth had only begun. "They're shaping a story," Tom said quietly, "trying to brand you unstable before any hearing." Alicia's jaw hardened. "They don't know who they're fighting." She showed him her screen. His eyes widened. "That's explosive." "But Alicia, be cautious. Cornered men fight dirty." She smirked grimly. "So do I, only better trained." She moved with focus, tracing digital breadcrumbs. Every new file revealed deeper rot, missing exhibits, altered witness statements, complaints buried. This wasn't just negligence, it was culture, harassment codified, suppression standardized. Her phone buzzed. "Angela again. Meeting with Civil Rights Commission tomorrow. Got material?" Alicia answered with a tight smile. "Plenty." She glanced at the clock. Almost pickup time. Shutting her laptop, the office line lit up. Internal affairs. Alicia let it ring. Fishing expedition. Let them wonder. She packed carefully, backing up every file. Years in the bureau had taught her, always safeguard evidence. Every document was ammunition for war. Crossing the parking garage, she felt the emptiness pressing in. Each click of her heels echoed too loud. Her eyes swept shadows between cars, every sense sharpened. The weight of her service pistol on her hip offered comfort. She quickened her stride, knowing exposure in places like this was dangerous. She picked up Ethan and Noah from after school, masking her storm with calm. They chattered nervously, eyes darting. Their unease mirrored her own. "Mom," Ethan asked suddenly, voice low, "those men, are they following us?" Alicia checked the mirror. Dark sedan, unmarked. Her instincts screamed confirmation. She forced a steady reply. "Just cars heading the same way," she said lightly, taking a deliberate wrong turn. The sedan shadowed them. Alicia drove in a looping pattern, circling blocks until doubt was erased. Back on their street, another unmarked vehicle sat brazenly across from her house. Two men inside, plain clothes, watching openly. "Homework time," Alicia said cheerfully, though her jaw ached from restraint. She ushered the boys in, shielding them with her body as she unlocked the door. Inside, she breathed once, her hand brushing her weapon. Through the curtain, she recognized one man, a detective tied to Denton's precinct. The message was clear. They wanted her rattled. She refused. With her briefcase heavy with evidence, Alicia entered without acknowledgement. Let them stare. She had enough to blow open their scheme. The question that gnawed was how far they'd go to silence her. Her dining table soon transformed into a battlefield of documents. Around it sat her allies, Angela Watkins, civil rights lawyer hardened by 20 years fighting misconduct, Marcus Reed, head of the Community Justice Coalition, and Sarah Chen, investigative journalist whose reporting ignited public outrage. Alicia spread the papers. This spans years. Every vulnerable person cornered, every escalation disguised. It's all here. Angela adjusted her glasses, scanning grimly. The pattern's unmistakable. They target minorities, provoke, then rewrite reports to shift blame. Marcus's jaw clenched. Classic abuse, and their superiors rubber stamp it every time Sarah snapped photos discreetly. The public must see this. Not numbers, but stories, faces harmed. That truth can't be buried. "We need caution," Alicia warned, glancing toward the kitchen where her sons pretended to study. "They're watching my house right now." "Anything we release, they'll smear," Angela's voice sharpened. "Let them try. We have proof, witnesses, and viral footage. And you, an FBI agent with a spotless record, they can't dismiss you." Marcus leaned forward, voice steady. We'll organize a press conference. Bring victims together. Show this is systemic. Sarah typed fast. I'll run a series. Start with your case, then widen. Harassment, suppression, cover-ups. Expose the whole machine. Alicia nodded. But fast! They're already framing me unstable, dangerous. I've seen the memo, Angela scoffed. Gaslighting, their favorite trick, especially against strong women of color. Not this time. We have too much. They crafted roles. Angela filing official complaints to city and federal oversight. Marcus rallying peaceful protests. Sarah releasing timed reports to build pressure. Alicia listened, her resolve tightening like steel wire. And your safety? Marcus asked pointedly. These men protect their own. Intimidation is their weapon. Alicia's hand touched her concealed firearm. I'll manage. My worry's different. A sound at the doorway cut her short. Ethan and Noah stood there, pajamas rumpled, eyes wide, clutching tablets as shields. Mom, Ethan asked. His voice was small. We heard you talking about safety. Noah's lip trembled. Are the bad cops going to hurt us? Alicia's chest clenched. She rose, arms open. Both boys rushed into her, their fear breaking her heart. Angela, Marcus, Sarah watched silently, understanding the human weight beneath the evidence. Alicia looked at them firmly. Those officers, they're bullies. And what do we say about bullies? Ethan answered, voice stronger. They're cowards, only strong when others feel scared. Alicia smiled softly. Exactly. And us? Are we afraid? Noah hesitated. A little. Alicia kissed his hair. That's okay. Courage is acting anyway. But what if they come here? Ethan whispered. What if they try to hurt you? Alicia met Angela's eyes across the table, sharing silent resolve. She drew her sons closer. As long as I'm here, she vowed, voice fierce and tender, you are safe. The room hushed, gravity sinking in. Papers rustled, Sarah's keys tapped, but all eyes lingered on the small family, sore huddled together. This wasn't just about misconduct. It was about the right to live unafraid. After long minutes, Ethan and Noah reluctantly returned upstairs. Alicia's gaze followed, maternal instinct clashing with her warrior's resolve. Angela touched her arm. We'll fix this, Alicia. For them, and for every child who deserves safety. Alicia nodded, turning back to the mountain of files. Truth lay thick across her dining table. Now they had to make it matter. She straightened, jaw set. The path forward was perilous, but retreat was no option. In her bathroom mirror, Alicia adjusted her blazer, rehearsing testimony for tomorrow's hearing. Every local station buzzed with her story. The officers acted without cause, she practiced. They escalated deliberately, endangering my children. Her phone chimed. Angela again. CNN wants an interview. Better after hearing. Alicia agreed. Strategy mattered more than spotlight. Sarah's series had already unveiled years of harassment buried under reports. Alicia exhaled, exhaustion creeping. From below, sounds of Ethan and Noah's playful bickering reached her ears. She checked her watch late. Heading downstairs, she found them sprawled on the floor, with colored pencils, paper scattered like a battlefield of imagination. Needs more red, Ethan muttered over his sketchbook. Heroes always wear red. But Mom's suit is blue, Noah argued, pointing at another drawing. Alicia cleared her throat. Artists, bedtime. Wait, Ethan scrambled to hide his work. Not yet, it's for tomorrow. Alicia sighed, too drained to argue, curiosity tugging at her anyway. For the hearing? She asked, collapsing onto the couch. Fatigue pressed on her bones. Too many nights burned drafting testimony with Angela. Noah climbed onto her lap, fingers tracing her badge. The bureau had returned it reluctantly, bowing to public support. Ethan peeked up. Are you scared, Mom? He asked softly. Alicia smoothed Noah's curls. A little. But fear is okay when it's for something important, Like when you had to give that book report, Ethan nodded solemnly. Exactly like that, she smiled. Remember how nervous you were? But you did it anyway, and it turned out fine. Noah leaned in closer. Yeah, Ethan frowned, but you'll speak to way more people, and those cops will be there. Alicia's mouth tightened. The officers sat on paid leave, their unions snarling to defend them. They tried labeling her unstable, but the videos, undeniable, told a different story. Truth outweighs lies, she said firmly, conviction blazing. That's why we speak, even when it's terrifying. Noah's eyes lit. Like Martin Luther King in the book, they'd read simplified civil rights stories together, giving the boys context. Alicia kissed his forehead. Exactly, sweetheart. Brave voices say, this is wrong, so things change. Her heart swelled, but ached too. Ethan finally lifted his sketch pad. But will it really change? Officer Mike at school still looks at us funny. Alicia's throat tightened. Her sons had lost innocence too young. Learning suspicion often wore uniforms. She cupped his cheek gently. Change takes time, love. But it begins with people who dare speak. Silence lingered. Alicia hugged both boys close, eyes burning, but voice steady. Tomorrow we speak. For us, for others, for truth. Ethan slipped the drawing into his backpack secretly, determination shining. Upstairs, as she tucked them in, Alicia knew, whatever awaited at that hearing, the fight was only beginning. Downstairs, she reviewed her notes once more. Angela's reminders echoed in her head. Focus, precision, credibility. Outside, a car engine idled faintly. They were still watching. Alicia drew the curtains tighter, her jaw set. Let them monitor. Tomorrow, the world would hear her voice, and the truth would no longer be theirs to bury. Upstairs, muffled giggles and hushed whispers seeped through the walls, her boys refusing to sleep, trading courage in childish jokes. Alicia let the sound wash over her, a balm for her weary spirit. In their laughter lived the reason for every risk, every stand, every breath of defiance she carried. She whispered to herself, voice quiet but resolute. For them, I'll face it all. The clock ticked toward midnight. Papers spread across the table like weapons of truth, waiting for tomorrow's battle. She squared her shoulders, lifted her pen, and continued to prepare, because morning would demand nothing less than everything. And as she worked under the dim kitchen light, Alicia Munro knew this. Fear would remain, doubt would linger, but the world was watching now. Change was fragile, hope uncertain, but it had to start somewhere, and for her children's sake, she would be the one to ignite it. Remember how many people came to last week's rally? Alicia asked. Both boys nodded. The Community Justice Coalition's peaceful march had drawn hundreds. She'd kept Ethan and Noah home, worried about retaliation, but they'd watched the coverage together, chants rising, signs lifted, hope threading through a city that finally seemed awake. All right, real bedtime now, Alicia announced, standing. Tomorrow's huge. She oversaw toothbrushing and pajamas, then tucked them in. As she kissed Noah goodnight, he whispered, You're braver than Superman, Mom. In Ethan's room, he finally produced the secret drawing. It's for tomorrow, for luck, he said, eyes shining with quiet determination. Alicia's breath caught. Ethan had drawn her tall FBI jacket like a cape, standing before stick-figure versions of the boys, arms wide, shielding them. See? He pointed proudly. You're our superhero. Superheroes beat bad guys. Alicia traced the careful lines, her natural hair rendered like a crown, strength and gentleness balanced. It's beautiful, she murmured. Thank you. Will you bring it? He asked. For good luck? Right in my folder, Alicia promised, kissing his forehead. Now sleep. Promise the truth wins tomorrow? Ethan yawned. Alicia slid the drawing into her briefing folder beside her testimony. Tomorrow the truth wins, she vowed softly. In the hallway, Alicia pressed the folder to her chest, drawing strength from her son's faith. Tomorrow would test everything: her courage, composure, commitment to justice. This wasn't only about a park, it was about her son's future, every child's right to trust protectors. The truth had to prevail, for all. Alicia's hands trembled slightly as she pulled from Angela's office lot. Her lawyer's last words echoed, "Be careful." They're desperate. Streetlights cast long blades of shadow across her SUV as she merged onto the avenue. 3 blocks later, she spotted it, a dark sedan, 2 cars back, mirroring every turn with practiced precision. Training kicked in. She took an unnecessary left, then a right. The sedan followed. Her pulse climbed as she speed dialed. "Mrs. Johnson, are my boys still with you? Good. Please keep them inside a few extra minutes." She checked mirrors again. The tail closed distance. No visible plates in the dim wash. Her driveway appeared, but stopping felt risky. Still, she needed to get home. Her sons would worry. Alicia swung in sharply and killed the engine. Before she could move, doors slammed behind her. 3 masked men surged from shadows. Their gait, spacing, and confidence screamed law enforcement training, not random street thugs. She erupted from the SUV, using the door as a bludgeon. It smashed the first attacker's chest, staggering him. The second reached for her throat. Alicia ducked and drove an elbow into his solar plexus. "FBI! Stand down!" she shouted, knowing they wouldn't. This wasn't robbery. It was a warning shot. The third man's punch split her lip. Alicia rolled with it, whipping a heel into his knee. Something cracked. He howled. Through Mrs. Johnson's window, she heard Ethan scream, "Mom!" The cry speared her heart, but she couldn't look. The first attacker recovered, baton raised, rage radiating beneath the mask. Alicia met the swing, blocking with her forearm. Pain flashed white. She trapped his wrist, wrenched hard. The baton clattered away. Knee to the groin, elbow to the base of his skull. He folded. The second man hooked her from behind, pinning arms. The third limped forward, fist cocked, eyes murderous. Alicia snapped her head back. Bone met cartilage. His nose crunched, but the hold held. She kicked off, both feet slamming the limper's chest. He flew into her SUV. The grip around her ribs faltered. She twisted free and fired precise strikes, throat, temple, dropping the second. All 3 were down. Pain roared. Blood streaked from her lip onto her blouse. Neighbors, crowded porches. One filmed. Mrs. Johnson held Ethan and Noah back as they cried for her. Sirens sliced the night. Cruisers converged far too fast for a typical response. Alicia planted her feet, hands raised. "FBI Special Agent Alicia Monroe. I was assaulted." Officers ignored the groaning men. Their captain stepped forward, smirk familiar. He offered an envelope, savoring each syllable. "Agent Monroe, you're suspended pending investigation into violent conduct." Alicia's hands shook, opening it. The bureau seal glared. Bureaucratic frostbite followed. Surrender credentials, reassignment, career frozen by a single sheet of paper. "The men who attacked me," she started. "What men?" he asked blandly, gesturing. In the chaos, the assailants had vanished, the sedan too. "Looks like you took quite a spill," he added. "Get those injuries checked." Her badge burned cold against her hip, no longer emblem of justice, but betrayal's brand. She heard her sons crying, felt neighbors' stares, and saw officers' satisfaction. "Your badge, Agent Monroe, or should I say, Miss Monroe?" With trembling fingers, Alicia unclipped it, every barrier broken, every sacrifice made, reduced to a smirk and a form letter. She kept her voice even through pain. "I'm filing assault." "Of course," he replied coolly. "Come tomorrow. We'll take your statement about that." Fall cars eased away, leaving Alicia blood-stained under porch lights, phone still recording. Mrs. Johnson finally released the boys. They barreled into their mother. "Mom, you're bleeding," Ethan cried. "I'm okay," Alicia murmured, hiding the wince. "Inside." "Your badge," Noah said, staring at the retreating cruisers. "They took your badge." Alicia looked from their frightened faces to the empty street where her attackers had evaporated, to the dark camera lenses watching, to the silent weight of a system she'd served. In one night, everything she trusted turned. Dawn snapped her awake. Pain ripped through her ribs like wire. Every muscle burned as if stitched wrong. Light knifed through the curtains, merciless. She sat up, gasping. Her hip felt naked where the badge should rest. 2 decades climbing, proving, surviving, all stolen by a signature and a smirk. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Alerts, texts, missed calls, headlines blurred. FBI agent suspended after violent outburst. Unstable federal officer, mother or menace. The Alicia Munro story. Local anchors parroted insinuations, dredging an old quote from her ex about intensity during divorce. Footage of the park became aggression, not protection. Narrative rewritten. Not a mother defending her kids, now a public safety risk. Alicia forced herself upright, wrapping arms around her ribs. The mirror revealed purple blooms across her jaw, a ballooned lip, tender knots she cataloged like evidence. In the kitchen, Ethan and Noah sat quiet, cereal untouched, eyes tracking her every move. "Mom," Ethan whispered, "are you going to work?" Alicia swallowed. "No, baby. I'm taking time." "Because they took your badge?" Noah asked. "Yes," she said evenly. Temporarily. She knelt despite pain, arms around both. "Listen, those men were cowards. They attacked in shadows because they fear truth. We won't let them win." Her phone buzzed again. "Angela, turn on the news." Alicia grabbed the remote. The police captain stood at a podium, grave with counterfeit concern. "We are troubled by Agent Monroe's pattern of aggression," he intoned. "Unprovoked attack on officers. Erratic conduct. Last night's incident raises questions about her stability and fitness." The screen cut to grainy, spliced footage of her driveway, her strikes isolated, their assaults omitted. The lower third screamed, "A FBI agent's violent breakdown." Alicia's fists clenched. The bruises hurt less than the betrayal, the erasure of context, of humanity. She dialed her supervisor, voicemail, colleagues, voicemail. Doors closing, one after another. Social media was a bonfire. Trolls called her dangerous. Worse, racist bile flooded feeds. Supporters fought back, but the disinformation wave was loud, synchronized, relentless. By afternoon, reporters ringed her house, lenses peering through windows. Ethan and Noah couldn't even step outside. Their home had become a glass-walled cage. Alicia paced, checking locks, drawing curtains tighter. Training urged, document, preserve, methodically build the case. But her hands shook. Every car idling too long spiked her pulse. Every shifting shadow hinted at another ambush. She breathed through the pain, counting exits, measuring angles, forcing calm to smother the tremor. Night finally fell. She tucked the boys into bed. They clung longer than usual, demanding promises she kept making. "You're still our superhero," Ethan whispered fiercely, "no matter what they say." Alicia held him close, swallowing the sting behind her eyes. "Sleep," she murmured. "Big day tomorrow." We keep fighting. When the house quieted, the ache returned, ribs, lips, shoulder. But the deeper wound was trust betrayed. She moved room to room, resetting alarms, rechecking windows, assembling evidence into neat piles. They wanted fear. She would give them facts. They wanted silence. She would answer with testimony. She refused to vanish. In the kitchen glow, Alicia reopened Ethan's drawing. Cape jacket, arms wide, crown of curls, a child's prayer in colored pencil. She slid it back into her folder like armor. Tomorrow, the hearing. Tomorrow, her voice. Tomorrow, cameras and questions and spin. She steadied herself on the counter and breathed. Somewhere outside, an engine idled, patient and cruel. Let them watch. Let them record. She would speak anyway. She texted Angela, "We move at dawn. No backing down." The reply came instantly, "With you." Alicia straightened the stacks again. Complaints, videos, timelines. Truth arranged like blades for the day ahead. Upstairs, muffled whispers turned to quiet. She pressed a palm to the wall, imagining the rise and fall of their breath. For them, she could not break. For them, she'd turn fear into fuel, doubt into discipline. She clicked off the kitchen light and stood in the dark, listening. The house settled. Her ribs protested with each inhale, but her resolve only hardened. The badge might be gone for now, but her oath remained. Protect, serve, seek truth. The system might bury evidence, twist narratives, weaponize rumor. She would bring daylight. She gathered the folder and squared her shoulders. And as Alicia Monroe locked the final latch and stared into the sleeping street, she knew this fight had entered its cruelest chapter. Fear would linger, pain would follow, lies would multiply. But the world was watching, and her sons were too. That was enough. Tomorrow, she would not flinch. Everything will be better soon, Alicia told herself. Later, alone in the bathroom, the mirror offered no comfort, just bruises deepening, a split lip throbbing. Without her badge, the woman reflected back felt diminished. She gripped the sink, leaning close, cataloging every mark their violence had tried to carve. The flesh would mend. They were targeting something deeper, her identity, her resolve, her duty to protect. Her breath fogged the glass. They want me broken, she whispered. She studied her own eyes another beat, then straightened. The pain remained, but beneath it a fiercer flame kindled, unyielding determination. Alicia seized her phone and began calling. First, Angela Watkins, civil rights attorney who'd fought police brutality for 2 decades. Meet me at the community center tomorrow night, Alicia said. Bring everything on union corruption. Next, Sarah Chen, the journalist digging into misconduct. I need those union payoff files, all of them. She dialed Pastor Davis, whose church had become the heartbeat of organizing. Can you fill the forum? We need witnesses, anyone silenced by these officers. With each call, her hand steadied. This was her terrain, assembling evidence, mapping networks. They could take her badge, not her training or her instincts. She spread research across the kitchen table, complaints, sworn statements, bank records with suspect transfers. The pattern gleamed ugly and undeniable. Buried misconduct, hush payments, threats against whistleblowers. Her ambush wasn't isolated. It was a chapter in a well-practiced playbook. The scope widened with every document under her fingertips. Mom? Ethan's voice startled her. He stood at the doorway in pajamas, Noah beside him. We heard you talking, Noah added. I thought you were asleep, Alicia said softly. They stepped closer, eyes older than yesterday. The park, the driveway, too much too soon. Her heart pulled in opposite directions. We want to help, Noah said. You always say, stand up for what's right. Alicia's instinct begged to shield them, send them to their grandmothers. But they were already inside the story. Running wouldn't teach the lesson they needed. Come here, she said, arms open. They hugged her carefully, mindful of bruises. Tomorrow night, I'll tell everyone the truth, Alicia said. Not just our story, many families' stories. Ethan's voice muffled against her shoulder. Will it be dangerous? I'll be careful, she promised. And I won't be alone. Justice involves risk, but we'll be smart. Together, she showed them how the evidence interlocked. It's like a puzzle, Noah said, eyes widening. All the pieces show the bad guys. Alicia smiled. Exactly. And tomorrow, we'll show the whole picture. She worked through the night, shaping slides and timelines. The forum would be televised. The case had to be crisp, undeniable, impervious to spin. Angela drafted talking points. Sarah verified facts, hunting for weaknesses. Pastor Davis mobilized his congregation to fill every seat. Morning brought more cameras on the lawn, rougher headlines online. Alicia felt steadier. Let them watch. Let them distort. The truth, once assembled, would cut through contrivance like light. She spent the day checking and rechecking, forcing her battered body past exhaustion. Intelligence work, gather, corroborate, connect, had prepared her for this exact enemy, a corrupt network disguised as order. Evening fell. Alicia donned a clean blazer, concealed bruises beneath makeup, and tested Sarah's hidden mic, recording to redundant off-site servers. Nothing would disappear tonight. The boys watched silently as she finished getting ready, understanding the stakes without words. "What if they try to stop you?" Ethan asked. "We have backup plans," Alicia said. "Pastor Davis's security, multiple cameras, live streams, and if anything happens, call Aunt Sarah, like we practiced." They nodded solemnly. Alicia knelt, ribs protesting, to meet their eyes. "I need you brave tonight. Can you do that?" "Yes," they answered together. "And remember," she said softly, "no matter what anyone claims about me, you know the truth." Noah's jaw set. "You're our hero. You protect people," she breathed them in. "Bring back the truth, Mom," Ethan whispered as they hugged, careful of her injuries. She adjusted the discreet mic again. Its weight against her collarbone felt like armor. With keys and evidence in hand, she squared her shoulders and moved toward the door, resolve tightening into unbreakable wire. Outside, cameras pivoted, and reporters shouted. Alicia walked past, head high, mind locked on the mission. The night carried a charge, danger braided with possibility. They had tried to break her, to bury her. Instead, they'd handed her the pieces to expose their machine completely. The city leaned in. The community center vibrated with expectation. Every seat filled, people lining the walls and hall. Red tally lights blinked along the cameras. At the podium, Police Union President Howard Malone adjusted his tie, smile sharp. "These allegations are fake news and hysteria," he declared. "Our officers responded to an aggressive individual." "That's a lie." Alicia's voice cut cleanly through the murmur. She stood from the front row holding a thick folder. "And I can prove it." Malone's smile thinned. "Miss Monroe, you're out of order. This forum has procedures like your procedures for burying complaints." Alicia took the center aisle, projecting. "Or payouts to keep victims quiet." She lifted documents high. March 15th. Officer Denton assaulted a teenage boy. Complaint vanished. April 3rd. 2 officers harassed an elderly black couple. Report lost. Phones rose across the room. Alicia moved closer to the stage, each step deliberate, a cadence of certainty. June 7th, a domestic violence victim called for help. She got threats instead, and a $10,000 hush payment. Her voice hardened. "I have bank records, statements, internal memos ordering cover-ups." "Security!" Malone barked into the mic. "Remove her!" But Alicia was already mounting the steps, laying papers across the podium. "Everything's here. Names, dates, signatures. A years-long pattern of brutality and corruption." The crowd surged forward. Journalists snapped frantic photos. Malone grabbed for the files. Alicia blocked him, calm and precise, bureau training in every movement. The back door slammed open. 3 officers in tactical gear pushed through the aisle. She recognized them instantly, the same men who'd ambushed her. This time, she was ready. The first reached for her arm. Alicia stepped into his momentum and flipped him over the podium. He crashed into chairs as screams and gasps erupted. The second swung a baton. Alicia caught and twisted. She stripped the baton easily, swept his legs, and he hit the stage hard. The third, bigger, wrapped her from behind. Alicia dropped her weight, broke his grip, and spun, delivering a brutal elbow to the solar plexus. He stumbled back, wheezing, eyes wide with the realization she wouldn't break. "Keep filming!" someone shouted. Phones filled the air. The first officer surged again, hand on a taser. Alicia redirected his wrist. Discharge snapped into his partner's vest, then flowed through rapid strikes, putting both men down in seconds. Cameras flashed like lightning, freezing each movement in indelible frames the city would remember. The largest officer charged, a bull rush across the stage. Alicia sidestepped, seized his arm, and executed a crisp takedown, locking him face down, arm pinned. "This," she called above the uproar, "is how they silence truth, force, and fear." Not tonight, around her. Papers detailed the rot they protected. The fallen officers groaned. Malone had vanished. Alicia stood despite the fire in her ribs, ringed by evidence and witnesses. A chant sparked from the back, Alicia! Alicia! And roared forward. Reporters flooded the stage, mics thrust close. Dr. Monroe, how long have you investigated? Did they target you for this evidence? Are more cover-ups coming? Alicia faced the cameras, voice steady. Everything you need is in these files. The evidence speaks. She lifted the folder. No more cover-ups. No more silence. The chant swelled. Phones kept recording. The story had unspooled, and for once the truth was the loudest voice. Through the bodies, she found Pastor Davis nodding, pride in his eyes, while Angela slid documents into labeled evidence bags. Sarah waved a producer over, "We're live," and turned her camera. Alicia planted herself at center stage as questions volleyed from every side, the downed officers still wheezing at her feet. She'd trained her whole life for this, not just the hand-to-hand precision, but the courage to stand unflinching, to name Power's abuse in public, to accept the cost and speak anyway. The room thrummed. People pressed in from hallways, drawn by the noise, by the hope of accountability finally arriving. The chant rolled over the lights and lenses. Justice, justice, threaded with cheers, with tears, with something bigger than one night. Camera flashes painted the stage in white bursts, every frame a record they couldn't quietly erase. Alicia steadied her breath, the mic warm at her collar, the files warm in her hands. She looked out at neighbors, victims, allies, and at her sons near the aisle, faces bright with fierce belief. The truth was no longer hers alone. It belonged to everyone watching. "We're done being afraid," she said. "We are not backing down." The room answered, a rising wave that shook walls. The community center seemed to pulse, crowd pressing, cameras blinking, voices joined. More people streamed through the doors, pulled by the commotion and the promise of change. The chant surged again, punctuated by cheers and demands for justice. Flash after flash captured Alicia Monroe on the stage, unbowed, unbroken, unmistakably in command. The fallen officers, the incriminating files, and Alicia Monroe standing unshaken at the center, everything crystallized into a single image. By morning, headlines detonated. Every network carried it. FBI agent exposes corruption. Union boss flees confrontation. Justice Department opens probe. The city woke to a reckoning it couldn't dodge. From the kitchen table, Alicia watched looped footage of last night's showdown. Ethan and Noah munched cereal, eyes wide at the TV. On screen, their mother protected a tower of evidence while dismantling 3 assailants. "Mom, you're trending," Ethan said, holding up his tablet. Hashtag Alicia the Protector and hashtag Justice for Alicia roaring across social feeds. The doorbell rang. Alicia tensed, then exhaled. Pastor Davis stood smiling, arms full of newspapers. Front pages showed different angles of the same moment. Alicia triumphant on stage. Officers sprawled, documents scattered like truth finally unboxed. "You did it, sister," he said, laying them out. "They're making arrests already, right now." Updates buzzed her phone all morning. The police chief resigned at an emergency presser, complexion ashen as he dodged questions about cover-ups. 3 hours later, the mayor faced cameras promising federal oversight. Alicia felt the city shifting beneath her feet, power grudgingly ceding terrain to facts no one could bury. "The Department of Justice will conduct a thorough investigation," the mayor declared, staring down the lens. "We failed this community's trust. That ends now." By afternoon, helicopters thudded over downtown, while FBI teams raided Union headquarters. Alicia recognized colleagues hauling boxes of files and drives, the paper trail finally leaving shadows. Officer Denton and his partners emerged in cuffs, faces snarling when cameras found them. "Corruption goes deeper than expected," Angela told Alicia by phone. "Your materials crack decades of misconduct. They're uncovering cover-ups back to the 90s. Noah tugged Alicia's sleeve, pointing at breaking news. Another arrest, bigger than the rest. Union President Malone had been grabbed at a small private airfield, a suitcase of cash stashed in his trunk. The community rallied around Alicia. Neighbors delivered casseroles and cards. Local moms organized a vigil outside her fence. candles flickering. Hand-lettered signs read, "Protect Black Mothers," "Stand with Alicia," "Courage looks like this." "My boys look up to you now," one mother said, tears bright. "You gave us hope." Alicia pulled Ethan and Noah close as more coverage rolled. Analysts predicted sweeping reforms. Civil rights leaders demanded a national audit of police unions. Her story had swelled into something larger than any single life. That evening, her FBI supervisor called. Alicia stepped onto the back porch, the sky streaked orange. "Monroe," Director Williams said, formal, warm, "we're reinstating you immediately. Full clearance, back pay, commendation for uncovering systemic corruption." Alicia watched her boys through the window, safe, laughing, felt the weight of what the badge once meant. "Sir," she said carefully, "I'm grateful. But this was never about a badge. It's about my sons and mothers like me." On the line, Williams shifted. "I'm not sure I follow." Alicia exhaled. "Fixing one department isn't enough. The structure itself needs change. Mothers shouldn't need bureau credentials to feel safe." Through the glass, Ethan spotted her and waved. Alicia waved back, chest swelling with fierce love. This wasn't an ending. It was the opening move of a bigger fight. "So what are you saying, Monroe?" Williams asked. Alicia watched vigil candles brightening along the fence and made her choice. "I'm saying my mission just expanded," she answered. "Those mothers out front, families across the city, need help to fight back, to expose rot wherever it hides, to ensure kids can play in parks without dread." Outside, neighbors traded stories, their voices blending into an anthem of stubborn hope. "The badge never gave me power," Alicia went on. "Right and wrong did. Standing up did. Teaching my boys no one has the right to make them feel afraid. That's power." Silence stretched over the line. Finally, William sighed. "You're making a difference. Whatever you decide, you have my respect." Alicia ended the call and looked into the darkening sky. Sirens wailed somewhere far away. For the first time in weeks, her shoulders didn't flinch. Change was moving, slow but certain, like a rising tide washing grit from stone. A week later, she parked at Henderson Park again. Same trees, same fountain, same sunlit swings, yet everything felt transformed. Ethan and Noah pressed their faces to the windows. "Mom!" "Our spot is open," Ethan said, pointing to the picnic table by the water. Emotions swept through Alicia. Grief, relief, pride, braiding into something steadier than either alone. This place had been sanctuary, then battlefield. Maybe sanctuary again. Climbing out, she noticed other families watching. No suspicion, only recognition. A mom pushing her daughter on the swing, lifted a hand in greeting. An elderly man with a paperback offered a dignified nod. The air felt possible again. "Ice cream first?" Noah asked, fingers tightening around hers, gaze darting toward the spot where cruisers once idled. Alicia squeezed back. "Of course. Rocky Road for you, mint chip for Ethan, and vanilla for me, because I'm boring." Ethan grinned. The ritual teasing felt like stitching a familiar quilt back together. Mr. Rodriguez at the cart beamed. "The Monroe family." He was already scooping. "No charge today." "Please let me pay," Alicia began, but he shook his head softly. "You showed my granddaughters what courage looks like." "That's worth more than ice cream." Alicia blinked hard and accepted graciously. They settled at their table, savoring cold sweetness. The boys relaxed into old rhythms. Ethan spinning wild stories, Noah cackling, adding sound effects, chocolate dribbled down chins. For a moment, the park was simply a park. No cameras, no headlines, just summer light and the clean joy of ordinary life returning. Nearby kids whispered, pointing. A brave girl approached, clutching a scuffed basketball. "Are you really the FBI agent who fought the bad cops?" Alicia smiled gently. "I'm a mom who wants her kids safe." The girl nodded solemnly. "My mom says you're a hero. Can Ethan and Noah play?" Her boys glanced at Alicia. She nodded, and they sprinted to join. laughter braided with the bounce of the ball and the squeak of sneakers. A few mothers drifted over, pulling up at the bench, voices low but steady, stories of traffic stops, school officers, quiet fear woven into daily routines. "We're starting a neighborhood watch," one said. "Know your rights classes, documentation. Would you speak at our meetings?" Across the grass, Ethan demonstrated a crossover while Noah cheered. Alicia's answer came from somewhere deeper than words. "Yes," she said, "we protect each other. We build something stronger than what failed us." Afternoon unspooled golden. Alicia fetched their old football from the car, and an impromptu game erupted. Parents and kids, passes and shrieks, awkward catches that turned into triumph. She lofted a spiral to Noah. He snagged it, beaming. Something inside Alicia eased, watching fear loosen its grip on him. Ethan divided teams with a coach's authority, confidence returning where caution once lived. He stopped glancing over his shoulder at every engine rumble. The park sounds, fountain burble, distant traffic, no longer set his jaw. The field became a map of possibility, lines redrawn by laughter and shared momentum. As the sun tilted, families packed blankets and waved goodbyes. Alicia sat on a bench, watching her boys chase fireflies near the fountain. The last light gilded everything, statues, grass, two boys with cupped hands and crackling delight as tiny lanterns blinked in their palms, then lifted into twilight. A breeze carried cut grass and late flowers. Birds stitched the evening with small songs. Peace resettled like a well-worn coat. Ethan cupped a flickering speck, eyes wide, then opened his hands with ceremony. Noah giggled as the firefly zipped free, drawing neon loops in the soft dark. Tears pricked Alicia's eyes, this time from joy. Her sons ran without scanning for danger, existed without strangers questioning their belonging. A cruiser rolled past the park entrance. Neither boy looked up. Their game was more interesting than sirens, more powerful than uniforms. Innocence, reclaimed, felt like breath after drowning. She leaned back, watching their silhouettes dance. Something old and heavy loosened in her chest. They had taken more than a park back. They had recovered the right to be unafraid, to laugh loudly, to occupy space without apology. The lesson would outlive headlines, etched in muscle and memory. Stars winked on. Alicia whispered, "No one cages us again." Her face held the long, bright pride of a mother who met the storm and stayed standing. In the distance, a siren rose and fell. No longer a trigger, merely a sound among many. She breathed in, breathed out, whole. Her phone buzzed with new messages, thank yous, invitations, plans. She let it rest. Tonight belonged to glowbugs and grass stains, to mint chip and laughter. Tomorrow, the work would continue. Trainings, testimony, building structures sturdy enough to shelter every child. But now, she watched, present as the sky deepened. "Share this," a future Alicia would say into a camera. "Tell someone else." For now, she simply gathered her boys, hands warm in hers, and started toward the car under a freckled sky. The park whispered behind them. The city, awake at last, made space for their joy to echo. When the squad cars crept in and suspicion tried to swallow a Saturday, Alicia didn't become a superhero. She became what decades of steady practice had prepared her to be, a mother with a plan. She spoke clearly, moved deliberately, and taught her boys to keep a safe distance, 10, 15 feet, like they'd rehearsed in the living room. That is courage, the way many of us, now 65 or 75, recognize it. Not loud, not reckless, but firm as a porch step you've trusted for years. We know that life's storms don't ask permission, so we do what Alicia did. Breathe, think, and decide. If you carry a phone, keep it charged. If you carry a wallet, keep an index card with 3 emergency numbers. If you carry a memory, carry your rights. Courage isn't a movie punch. It's the choice to stand upright when your knees want to fold. And notice the way she held her son's eyes. Fear wants you to look away. At badges, at baton swings, at shouting. Alicia kept her focus on the reason she stood there at all. 2 boys who deserved a childhood. If you've ever steadied a grandchild crossing a busy street, you understand. The cars matter, the traffic lights matter, but the small hand in yours matters most. Courage is deciding whose eyes you serve. After the dust settled, Alicia did the quiet work. She wrote the names, the dates, the words said, and the words implied. She gathered files, cross-checked reports, and built a record no rumor could outrun. Truth for people our age has always been a ledger. Who showed up? What was promised? What was done? When the Justice Department helicopters beat the air over downtown and the union office doors opened, it wasn't luck. It was a paper trail finally pulled into daylight. You and I may not chase down hard drives, but we know how to keep receipts. If something happens on your block, write it down. Time, street, weather, license plate, who stood where. If a neighbor is harmed, help them store photos and notes somewhere safe. If an officer knocks, ask for a card, note the badge number, and record the conversation if your state allows it. Alicia's victory wasn't only a takedown on stage, it was 1,000 small acts of order, the kind of faithful, boring order our generation excels at. And then she did the next essential thing. She let the truth walk on many legs. Lawyers, pastors, journalists, mothers with strollers, retirees with folding chairs. Everyone took a piece and carried it 2 blocks, 2 miles, 2 weeks. That is how a city moves. When Alicia returned to the park with Ethan and Noah, the air felt different. Not because danger vanished, but because hope had taken root where fear used to sit. The same fountain, the same swings, the same length of green grass, 30, 40 yards, became a home field again. For those of us old enough to measure time in school years and surgeries, that is the deeper victory, not a headline, but the way a child's laughter sounds when nobody is scanning the fence line. Reclaiming a place is not small work. You bring snacks, you bring folding chairs, you bring an extra jacket because the breeze off the water turns cool after 6 p.m. You wave to the mother on the swing, nod to the man on the bench, and you say good evening to the officer who idles at the gate, because accountability and neighborliness can share a sidewalk. You teach the kids the rule of twos, 2 friends together, 2 trusted adults on speed dial, 2 exits mapped in your head, and then yes, you toss the football, you buy the mint chip, you chase fireflies when the sky finally picks up its first stars. Joy is not a luxury item, it is community armor. In Alicia's story, the badge came and went, but the mission stayed. That's a lesson fit for our age. Titles retire, purpose does not. We can still host the meeting in a church hall, still put a cooler of water on the tailgate in August, still ask the hard questions at a town hall without raising our voice. The movement needs people who have already learned to wait, to write, and to welcome. Let the young run the full length of the field. Let us walk the sidelines with a notebook and a thermos and a prayer. When the next Alicia stands up, the ground will hold because we packed it, tamped it, and stayed. And when the children forget to look over their shoulders, we will know the work took root. In the end, Alicia did what our generation knows how to do better than most. She turned fear into plans, plans into partnerships, and partnerships into a future where a Saturday can be a Saturday again. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Courage keeps you standing, records keep you honest, and joy keeps you going. And all 3 travel farther when we carry them together. If Alicia's journey spoke to you, the steady courage under pressure, the habit of writing things down, the simple act of returning to the park so children can laugh again, would you share one practice you'll take into your own neighborhood this week? Then tap like, leave a comment with your best safety or community building tip, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss the practical tools, true stories, and quiet victories we'll keep learning together.